Welcome to Beaufort County's House of Cards, right here on Big Patriot Radio Network.
Locked and loaded.
Let's go.
Big Patriot Radio. Blues, news, country pop, and classic rock.
Hey, good evening, everybody. Once again, it is Beaufort County's House of Cards, right here on the Big Patriot Radio Network. I am Mike Cover, the host, and glad to have you here. Welcome to everyone that is with us tonight and that will be watching this on a tape delay basis from now and into eternity. Big show. Matter of fact, there's so much stuff going on right now. I actually had to throttle some things away and maybe put them all for next week. I didn't want to keep you here till 11 o'clock, and I didn't want to either. So, hey, please like us. Click the like button, whatever platform you're on. Click the subscribe button. Click the follow button. That helps make us, give us some kind of algorithm boost with YouTube and Twitter or X and Facebook. So please do that. That helps along. Send us some stars. We're now monetized because you've helped us grow. Now we're monetized. Send us some stars along, or you can check out there at the bottom of the screen the what they call the tip jar. There's a little way to get onto the tip jar, and it is hip. You see going across the screen. Again, super show. super show. We got a freaking news overload here at Big Patriot Radio. And don't forget, with Big Patriot Radio, if you haven't been listening or you haven't just haven't done that yet, well, go ahead. After the show tonight, click on bigpatriotradio.com. You can do it on your internet at the house, your laptop. You can do it on Alexa. Just say, hey, Alexa, turn on Big Patriot Radio on Live 365. And it'll, however you do that, it'll come up. Roku television. You can watch us, listen to us right there on Roku TV. So we're there. You want to check us out. Check us out. All of the podcasts that we do on Big Patriot Radio are live. They're free. They're free for you every week. And how many do we have? Well, Monday nights we have the New America Movement with David and Jordan Cox. 7 o'clock show, and then a 9 p.m. Encore. It is on fire. Got to check that out. Tuesday night, the Overton Report with Corey Allen, also on fire. And he is working on some stuff right now that, quite frankly, I'm worried. I'm glad I don't have hair on my head because it would catch on fire. It's so hot. It's unbelievable. The stuff that he's working on, and appreciate, our relationship working together with some stuff. And you want to check him out at Tuesday at 7 o'clock on bigpatriotradio.com, and then at 8 o'clock on an encore, or shortly thereafter, depends on how long he runs. You definitely don't want to miss that on Tuesdays. Thursdays is a repeat of this show, and I just remembered I forgot to put it on. So right now they're listening to music. They're not listening to me. Anyway, that's independent news for you. Let's see, Sunday at 7 o'clock, Andrew Southwick and Culture Crossroads is on bigpatriotradio.com. Have a lot of folks up in Maryland, I understand, that listening to that on our station. Pretty interesting. And then 8 o'clock on Sundays is the Freedom Hour by our good friend Frank Friedenauer. Interesting little twist there, but get a kick at you'll enjoy that. But hey, let's get started. We have a lot of stuff going on, and have you all had the opportunity to dig into and get a grasp on what Coach Deion Sanders, prime time, has done at the University of Colorado? He is the football coach. He came there this year after a stellar few seasons at Jackson State University down in Mississippi, Jackson, Mississippi. And before that, he was, I think he coached in high school or something like that, and obviously professional career in baseball and football. Anyway, Prime Time, Coach Prime has taken really even though it's a Pac-12 school, huge school, it's a low-life program, or it used to be rather, poorly recruited. Everybody around them would out-recruit them, at least over the last decade, really. Terrible attendance. I mean, those programs should make money, and I would feel safe in saying it wasn't. Turned it into a world-class program. It's what I did here. If you follow him, when he says in any of his meetings or whatever, he'll throw out very motivational. I mean, I got to tell you, the guy is on point. Very motivational. And he's like, can someone play my theme music?
Oh. Okay. Ah! Oh.
Only Deion Sanders.
I'm trying to get crunk.
Tell them how we gonna go. Tell them why they don't hold on. Tell them why they better run.
Stand up. Okay.
That's called the halftime music by the Yin Yang Twins. And only Coach Prime can pull that off. If Beamer tried it, or Nick Saban tried it, or Dabo tried it, it might work a little bit, but not like Prime, Coach Prime. This guy has got DJs in the locker room, DJs in the weight room, DJs in the cafeteria, motivational stuff everywhere. And I don't just mean posters. I mean, everything motivates his kids to do things that books are written about. This guy's doing it. He introduces young men to Christ. That's completely not the norm, unfortunately. And his world-class expectations are that, hey, it's me. We win where I go. And he sold this to his recruits and their families. And quite frankly, it is working. It is most exceptionally working. How about his statement to the press a few weeks ago? This was a couple of weeks now, when they kept barraging him with you know how the talking heads are, the naysayers, they're just beating him up, the antagonists, your program's going to fall. Yeah, you got this big thing going, but it's going to falter. Here's what he said, and I quote. He says, "Look at me. What about me makes you think I care about your opinion of me? Your opinion of me is not the opinion of myself. You didn't make me, so you can't break me. You didn't build me, so you can't kill me. You know what God established me. So there isn't anything you could do to me. I've been him. I've been a difference maker, a game changer. I've been that guy. So what would change? Not a darn thing. I'm not even playing the game, and you got an opinion of me. I love it, but I don't care, and I wish the world thought like that. Youngsters, if you're out there right now, don't give a darn of the opinion of others have of you, as long as that opinion is not consistent of that of yourself. You be you. I'm not playing to make you feel good about me. I already feel good about me. How about that for motivation?"
Locked and loaded.
Let's go.
Big Patriot Radio. Blues, news, country pop, and classic rock.
Now, I haven't always been a fan of his, but truly, he's doing remarkable things. Don't forget tonight, I would love to hear from you. Go into your chat area, whatever form of medium you're on, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. If you have questions, comments, complaints, concerns, suggestions, whatever, put them in there. And if we can get them online on the screen, or unless you say, "Hey, don't, this is between me and you," obviously let me know that. Otherwise, we'll put it on there for you tonight. Love hearing from all the folks that are out there watching us live. Number one song this past week on Big Patriot Radio. I wouldn't have called this one, but Hank Williams Jr. with "Call Me Thunderhead." That's old Thunderhead Hawkins. And the number one listening city was a tie this week from Summerville, South Carolina. And where was the other number? Beaufort, South Carolina. How about that? But before we get too far along, let's go and take a check out of your 5-minute news.
This is VOA News. I'm Alexis Strope. Canada is making an explosive allegation that India may have been involved in the killing of a Canadian citizen on Canadian soil. But thus far, Canada's allies are voicing measured concern about what happened. They're calling for a full investigation, but none of Canada's key allies, not the U.S., Britain, Australia, or New Zealand, has echoed the allegations of Prime Minister Justin Trudeau.
We're standing up for the rules-based order. We're standing up for the rule of law. We're highlighting how unacceptable it would be for any country to be involved in the killing of a citizen on their own home soil.
These days, India is just too important to alienate. The Biden administration and governments of other allies want to maintain strong ties with India because of its economic might and as a counterweight to China's rising assertiveness. As the UN General Assembly debate continued into its third day, human rights lawyer Amal Clooney and world leaders Thursday pleaded for more attention to be paid to the war in Sudan and for accountability in fighting that has killed thousands and displaced millions of citizens.
The tragedy that I'm describing is one that we've seen before. We literally could be having this conversation 20 years ago. Targeted ethnic violence, the burning of villages, mass murder, and fleeing civilian. That was Darfur 2 decades ago. And now this nightmare is unfolding again. Why? We all know it's because those responsible for the crimes were never forced to answer for them.
Ethnically motivated attacks perpetrated by Sudan's RSF and allied militia have killed hundreds in West Darfur, the United Nations Human Rights Chief said this month. You'll find expanded coverage of world news and events at our website, voanews.com, 24 hours a day. This is VOA News. President Joe Biden will announce a new military aid package for Ukraine on Thursday that will include air defense systems and other weaponry to help Kyiv ahead of a tough winter. White House National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan.
To help defend against assaults like this one, assaults from the air, President Biden will announce a new package of military assistance today that includes significant air defense capabilities to help Ukraine protect its people.
Sullivan, briefing reporters, said the timing of the package coincided with the White House visit by Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. Sullivan also said that Poland would, quote, continue to stand behind Ukraine. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu have met on the sidelines of the United Nations General Assembly. Dorian Jones reports from Istanbul that the meeting is boosting hopes of a resumption of harmonious relations between the countries.
On the sidelines of the United Nations General Assembly, Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan met for the first time in person with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. The meeting is a milestone in recent rapprochement efforts after a rocky relationship in the past when both often traded angry barbs. Analysts say the past will not be an obstacle moving forward. In a tweet, Turkish officials described the meeting as positive, with talks focusing on energy. Dorian Jones for VOA News, Istanbul.
House Republicans for a third time blocked a procedural vote on a defense spending bill, raising the risk of a government shutdown in just 10 days. The defeat marks another public embarrassment for House Speaker Kevin McCarthy. Reuters' Jillian Kitchener has more.
The Republican spending agenda has hit a roadblock among a small group of hardline conservatives who want lower spending levels. They're asking for $120 billion less than what McCarthy and Biden agreed to in May. White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre said the deal from May needs to be honored.
A deal is a deal. Extreme House Republicans can't even get an agreement among themselves to keep the government running or to fund the military. Certainly, agencies are looking at how to move forward in case there is a shutdown. But best plan is for there to not be a shutdown.
Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer said, quote, instead of decreasing the chance of a shutdown, Speaker McCarthy is actually increasing it by wasting time on extremist proposals that cannot become law in the Senate.
The United States has had 3.5 million residents who identify as Middle Eastern or North African. Venezuelans were the fastest growing Hispanic group last decade, and Chinese and Asian Indians were the two largest Asian population groups. That's according to the 2020 census, most detailed figures. I'm Alexis Strope, VOA News.
All the wickedness and filth this world has to offer.
Rock music that shatters your bones. Big Patriot Radio.
That's some serious rock.
And you're responsible.
All right, so there's your 5-minute news. And wow, yeah, there's like a lot of shit to talk about tonight. And I really hope to hear from, once again, from many, if not all of you with your comments. A lot of folks online right now, so let's jump right in there. This week, we put it out there that we may have stumbled on. Well, not that we may, we did. We stumbled upon a little, just a little teeny, maybe, little white lie from County Council Chairman Passman here in Beaufort County during the Greenway hearings. And that was like the Greenway hearings, I guess, is now 2 weeks ago, I guess. Does that sound about right? Here is what Chairman Passman said. I'm going to play a little video for you. Let's get this little video going. I want to play a little video. I'm going in the midst of it, so to get to this point. And this is what Chairman Passman had to say in reference to the charges Greenway was being accused of, and who knew and didn't know about this. We're going to begin this at about minute 23:30, and it'll lead up to about minute 25, where you'll hear the chairman say what I'm talking about. So let's just go ahead and see what's going on.
As a contractor for the opioid public education at all, less as a sole source contractor for these services. Your actions violated the negotiated provision of Section 2-518 as well, assuming it applied. As indicated above, after properly determining in writing that there was only one source for the required service, the purchasing director is then required to conduct negotiations with the vendor to achieve the greatest economy of taxpayer for the taxpayer. By the time the purchasing director became aware of the contract, the county had already been obligated to compensate Elemental at a rate of $275 per hour, thereby preventing him from carrying out his duties. Code of Ordinances, Section 2-522, purchase order required. This provision provides that any purchase made with county funds shall be recorded on a purchase order bearing the quantity of each item to be purchased. The purchase order for this contract is dated March 2, 2023. Again, almost 2 months after the contract was entered into and after the contractor had been billed an unbilled time in the amount of $20,075. This is not in keeping with county code. Beaufort County's procurement regulations, processes, and guidance for employees. The county's current procurement regulations and processes were adopted in January of 2022 during your term of office. Section 2-100.4 provides that the county administrator may execute any contract on behalf of the county subject to approval as to form by the county attorney's office. The county's attorney's office did not see or approve the contract before you signed it. But Section 2-100.4 goes even further.
Now, what you just heard and saw, rather, let's get this back out of here. There we go. Now we're allowed again. The chairman, Derry, said that, when he said you, he's talking about to Greenway, because the Greenway was there. You did all this stuff. The chairman stated that, while you were doing this, the county attorney had no knowledge of the contract, nor had ever heard or seen the contract. That's what he just said. He said, county attorney's office had no knowledge of the contract, nor had ever heard of or seen the contract. Hey, wait a minute. Wait just a minute here. Hold on. Let's share something else. Something else that we've recently happened to have seen. And let's turn up this one right here. This is a copy of FOIA'd, F-O-I-A-D, apostrophe D, FOIA'd emails that we were able to get in touch, or we were able to get our hands on. And you see right here on July 22nd, 2023, remember what date that is now. At 7:21, this is the county attorney, wrote Larry. Larry is down here, Lawrence McKellen. He's the vice chair of council. I'm not sure. I ordered the articles of incorporation from the Secretary of State's office this morning. I'll get them first thing Monday morning. I'll let you know. Now, who is that talking about? That's Elemental. That's the company that Lisa Lynch and her sister-in-law, Angie Hassinger, created. And before a month was up, they were given a government contract. Anyway, it goes on to say a letter from Elemental's lawyer identified Hassinger as the owner. I know Steve well. Who's Steve? Steve is Steve Donaldson. Donaldson is the former director of the Beaufort County Alcohol and Drug Abuse Department. He retired. Okay. Let's go back to the email. We talk all the time. As recently this morning, I can ask him anything you'd like. I highlighted this. He complained about this contract when Eric entered into it, but I didn't probe because I didn't have reason to think it was anything more than a disagreement about whether to hire a subcontractor. I didn't probe because I didn't have reason to think it was anything more than a disagreement. How did you, county attorney, know about it and talk to Steve Donaldson about it, but the county chairman, council chairman, just told us, we all saw it, that you didn't have any idea about it. You had not heard of it nor seen it. Was he confused? Did he forget? I mean, is he getting a little, is there a problem? Did Larry McKellen and the county attorney's office conspire against Greenway? Or did they do that against the county? Was the chairman involved in that or not? Did he know about it? I mean, what is it? I mean, or is this an outright false statement and the county attorney didn't know about it? And as is shown on you see on the screen there, even former drug and alcohol abuse director Steve, and that's Steve Donaldson, who came back to work as a independent contractor. You see that right here. The county just rehired Steve, telling Larry this, as an independent contractor to do all kinds of things he was doing before he left. I told him he needs to charge independent contractor prices. He's charging his old salary. Whoa. Wait a minute. The county attorney is telling a county councilman that the county just rehired Steve as an independent contractor. What business of it is Larry McKellen's to know that, to ask that, or for the county attorney to even tell him that? Also, he was doing, according to Steve Donaldson, he was doing the same things he was doing before he left, but now the goose is out that they've hired this expensive contractor, Elemental Incorporated, to do the same thing. Then the county attorney tells him you need to change your prices. Hey, wait a minute. We'll talk about that in a second if I don't bring it back up about who's a county attorney. Who are they really representing here? Remind me about that if I don't bring it back up. He offers him, he says he's charging his old salary. Hey, you need to bump your prices up, big boy. There was a meeting that Steve Donaldson had with Audra, and that is one of the directors in the internal departments of the county, and Hassinger had, and told her he already did those things she wanted to do. So Steve told him, your company's being hired, but I'm already doing that. And apparently Russell Baxley, who is the CEO of Beaufort Memorial Hospital, happened to be in this meeting as well. The county attorney attends or turns it and tells Larry McKellen that Russell Baxley, the Beaufort Memorial CEO, laughed after meeting Hassinger. That's a little strange, don't you think? I mean, this whole thing is a little strange. Now, why was Russell Baxley there? Well, the hospital, this opioid program, there is a connection. There is a connection there. I mean, I'm okay with that, really. But the county attorney telling a county councilman, giving him all this information that he's really has no business doing, or knowing or asking for or receiving whatever, however allegedly that happened. It's a little strange. The most strange, or the strangest, is the fact that in the email, the county attorney obviously admits that he did know about the contract. He did know about it. Regardless of whether Eric Greenway did the contract illegally, regardless of whether, did procurement help write this? Did the finance department help write this? Is there a cost analysis? Was there an impact statement, financial? Regardless of that, he knew about it. Now, he told us 2 weeks ago that the county attorney's office didn't know about this, which would keep a lot of people out of hot water, to be quite honest with you. Because you see, this should have gone to the county council, one of their committees. And it should have gone from there through investigation with staff input and a vote, and then brought to county council as a whole, council of the whole. That didn't happen. Finance department apparently was shitting large bricks. We learned just today that one of the long time, and long time is like 5 years, but he's probably been there close to 10, assistant CFO, or I don't even know what his title is. He just resigned, allegedly, what we just learned, because of the internal problems and stress. I guess there was. Let's keep going, though. So who? Gosh, I don't know where to start. What is this all about? I mean, is he a county attorney or county attorneys? I don't know, but Kevin wrote the email, so I guess it's him. I don't know. Allegedly, it looks like him. Is he stabbing Greenway in the back here? I mean, is it okay? The jig is up. Now we're going to just start throwing daggers and see where it sticks. Is that what he's doing? Stabbing Greenway, who was his boss, by the way. The county attorney and all the county attorneys work for the county administrator. They don't work for county council. Just get that straight. When you talk to your county councilman or woman and they say, well, the county attorney, we told them to do this. Whoa. Why'd you do that? They don't work for you. If they tell you, well, yes, they do. No, they don't. They work for the county administrator. Again, don't forget, remind me about that because I want to pick something up. Is he stabbing, he being the county attorney, is he stabbing, passing it in the back with multiple sides of information? I mean, is Chairman Passman, is he just, he's being told, he's reporting what he's being told? I mean, I understand that. I understand that for a minute. He's just reporting when he does. I don't know that I fully believe that, but is he getting, the shaft from the county attorney on information? I mean, on one hand, you have the county attorney's office saying that, the county attorney, Kevin, will support or will not support, will advise the county administrator, and he named Brittany Ward, another county attorney, will advise the county council. Well, she either works for Kevin or Kevin works for her. I don't know who's the boss now because everybody gets juggled around. But they both work for the county administrator. That office cannot offer honest and transparent and bona fide legal information that's worth a shit to the county council. They can to the county administrator and anybody else on that side of the page. County council cannot. Why is that, Mike? Why do you keep saying that? Because they don't work for county council. County council doesn't pay them. The best interest of the citizen should be the county council, okay? Because they're the people's representative, not the government's representative. The county is not and does not and has not had the citizens' best interest at heart. I can tell you that. All right, let's not be naive enough to think that the county or any county will have your best interests at heart. Negative, Ghost Rider. The pattern is full. That is why county council should have its own legal representation that looks out for the best interest of the community or the taxpayer, not the county. Look at all of, and I'm talking, there are tons of lawsuits out there where Beaufort County has sued its own citizens, its own businesses. There's a few where said businesses or said citizens have decided, we're going to sue the county. I can tell you the county gets their rocks off when they hear that, because they have more money than you. They have upteen more times of valuable time than you. They will bleed you dry. I've seen it several times. I don't want to mention any of those lawsuits, but I have seen them, and I'd love for somebody to mention if they were involved. The county will try to bleed you dry. The best interest of you, Joe America, or you, Jane America, is not resting in the county attorney's office. It should be in county council's chambers with a legal representative of their own. That does not happen here in Beaufort County. I don't know about the town of Hilton Head. Yes, I do know. I'm not going to comment about them. I'm not going to comment about the town of Port Royal, the city of Beaufort. I'm not going to comment about the town of Bluffton. You figure that out on your own. I'm only talking about the county of Beaufort, and I'm telling you, you, the citizen, are not represented on county council with legal representation. That should give you a pucker factor of about 10. Lest I digress. Well, so why do they continue to operate without their own legal representation? It's been brought, I can't tell you about before me. I should ask Chairman Newton. He was there right before me. I should have asked him if it ever came up. It was brought up during my time, and it was that was poo-pooed quicker than a lot. There was never enough votes for that to go forward. Never. That was like pissing up a rope. I mean, and why do we keep getting this story? Oh, it ain't that way. The county attorney looks out for the citizen too. Yes, they abide by the law. Really? For those of you that have been in administrative law court with the county attorney's office, tell me how you feel. For those of you that have been in court with the county attorney's office over easements, over land use rights, tell me, how does that feel? How do you feel now? How do you like me now? That's what I should have, a big bobblehead of Beaufort County, and say, how do you like me now? After I bled you dry on the courthouse steps. Anyway, this channel right here, Beaufort County's House of Cards and Big Patriot Radio, posted live coverage of that hearing. You just saw a tape of that hearing where we were posting it. I didn't do a shirt change that quick. So what was the result? What was the result of all that? Well, county council took a vote, and they were all there. I believe 2 were in Zoom. The rest of them were there, which is also a bunch of bullshit. You need to get off your ass and get into county council chambers. I don't care who you are. You're on our payroll. I want to see my rep there, period. Anyway, off my soapbox. So the result was they all took a vote that they would not reinstate Greenway and that they would continue with the investigations, blah, 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 blah. And I'm paraphrasing. And it passed. Unanimous, no question. It was very, cut and dry. That day was the last day that Greenway would receive any more paychecks from the county. The last day. So is it odd that happened? No, I don't think it was odd at all. I think it was completely set up that way. He extended his time so he could get the maximum amount of, while he's at the pool in Fripp Island or playing golf with his Habersham buddies, get the maximum amount of money out of the county. They're loaded with money, and I'm owed it. I'm owed it, he says. So, Allegedly, that's kind of a joke. So he got the last day. I mean, I can only assume common sense would tell me that he either has or will be filing suit against the county. Allegedly, I would imagine that that's going to happen. What's he doing for income? I don't know. I have no idea. But possibly, someone may see him out and about. And hey, this is a fair program. Much like my good buddy Al Flowers and the former Talk One Radio, I agree with what he said. This is an open channel. Matter of fact, you got a different way of thinking, I'd love to talk to you. Come on. I would love to have Eric Greenway on here. He could tell all of us what exactly went on. I don't have a problem with that. Don't have a problem with that at all. Will he do it? I doubt it.
Wickedness and filth this world has to offer.
Rock music that shatters your bones. So, Patriot Radio.
That's some serious rock.
And you're responsible.
That's right. We have reported, some of the things that the law firm that they hired, and I forgot the name. It was sitting right here, and I lost it. They didn't hire the one that everybody thought they would, which is a good thing. 10 points. But one of the things this law firm, who either has on board financial people or they're hiring them on the outside to do these forensic audits and so forth, one of the things that they're looking at is the alleged the accusations of some improprieties having to do with Parks and Recreation Department and the purchase of some equipment. Now, we've been looking into this and been talking to some folks, and basically it was like $800 and some odd thousand of some playground equipment, which to me, I mean, I know the prices have gone up. If you got to lunch now, 2 people, and it's less than $30, I mean, now you're doing something. So, I mean, I get it, playground equipment went up, but $800,000? Are you kidding me? And I understand that the county got a good deal because some other county ordered it and said, we ain't doing that. It's too much or whatever. They said, nah, we ain't doing it. So Beaufort County swooped in. Now we have, I understand, and some of this stuff we just got, and I want to thank the person who sent this to me. I didn't ask to use their name, so I'm not going to. At the Beaufort County Finance meeting on Monday, basically what they did, and this was $799,000, $800,000. County Council basically voted something that they call Nunc Pro Tunc. Nunc Pro Tunc. In layman terms, in Mike Covert language, that means this for that, or what was then is now. Nunc Pro Tunc. You've heard of quid pro quo, do this for that. Well, Nunc Pro Tunc. Okay. Side note, I remember invoking a Nunc Pro Tunc on an item when I was on council. I thought Paul Somerville was going to literally shit his pants in the chair when I did that. Stu Rodman got 12 shades of red. Rick Caparel started laughing because he knew where I was going. And Paul Somerville looked like he saw a ghost. Anyway, that's basically what county council may have done. And the company is that they bought this from is called, and I don't know how you say it, it's like Churchich Recreation. They happen to be CRD of Hilton Head. They're located right here. Isn't that amazing? Anyway, they voted Nunc Pro Tunc to go ahead and pay this. Okay, this $800,000. Microphone's falling apart. $800,000. By doing that Nunc Pro Tunc, that would ratify the major screw up. Now, where where the is that according to someone I spoke to, and I didn't get their permission, so I'm not going to use her name, that would have knowledge of this with Parks and Recreation, tells me that, yes, absolutely, everybody gave approval to that, gave the council and committee and whatever. The other side of the story is saying, no, we didn't. We had no knowledge of this. The invoice was sent in Greenway, rubber stamped on it, which, according to procurement policy, is completely, absolutely, without hesitation, against policy. This should have gone through a major review, major bids. I mean, the whole process for this to happen. It didn't happen. We have seen nothing in writing that this ever happened. However, Parks and Recreation says that it is, or it had. Let me open that back up here because I want you to see a couple things. County Council would, if they voted, they would have voted to ratify it by voting non-pro-tunc. One of the, as this particular person says, there's a lot of layers, peeling back the onion, layers of icing on a cake. When you peel them back, there are things that are apparent. One of them is a discount of $95,000. That was a discount if we take it. $95,000. Interesting. If the fact that it was ordered by another entity and canceled is actually the case, then why wasn't there a larger reduction for this cancel? I mean, it's $800,000. You're only going to get a $95,000 break. I'm assuming this is all put together as what I'm being told. And I mean, it's a completed product. It's got to go somewhere or it's going to go in the recycling bin. We're going to give you a $95,000 discount. Seems a little light. And thank you. I did not know that. And Paula Brown, I apologize. I appreciate that. Councilwoman Paula Brown only wanted to vote no, not to pay. That takes guts. That takes balls. That's what a leader does right there. Anyway. So the reduction, the little gift wasn't really that much. And they couldn't ask for one any better or bigger because it didn't go through the proper channels. Now, did it? If you listen to the park or the finance committee meeting, you listen to it slowly and play it back, you will hear and see the account of this purchase and how it actually slipped through the cracks, through the procurement cracks, and got through to council. I was told, and it's true, the finance committee, if you look at the Beaufort County Ordinance 2-509, council committees only have the authority to approve purchases from $150,000 to $200,000, or they could approve anything less, but they don't have to. So think about that for a second, because the proper way, it has to go through committee. It has to have impact statements. There's a long process. Bid requirements. There has to have been 3 companies bid on this for it to stick. The interim county administrator apparently refused the order or the request from PALS, Parks and Rec, to pay it, and said, and this is allegedly, said, no, this has to go through the proper channels. I'm impressed if Robinson said that. I have not seen it, but I'm impressed if that's absolutely correct. I'm assuming that's what happened because it was presented to council. I'm going to assume that is correct. As my source has said, and I agree with it, if Robinson did that, and again, I am believing that he did, he is standing up to the status quo or the good old boy system of doing that. He actually would have stood up to doing quid pro quo bidding that this county has done for a long, long time. This purchase was just for one playground. One playground. It went in Port Royal. One of the county council members, when this being a discussion topic, happened to say, allegedly, well, the people of Port Royal just love it. It's so nice. You know, and another friend actually said this, and I agree to the T. I guess the people of Port Royal do like it. They didn't pay a friggin' dime for it. I'd love it too. I want a new car. If one shows up tomorrow morning, I don't give a shit if it's a Kia. I love it. You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying here? The taxes that you and I just paid on this purchase, by the way, was like $35,000. Interesting, don't you think? That's what you get with playground equipment. Now, what needs to come out is a full hearing on whether the county did in fact not abide by the procurement policy. I personally am not as interested. Well, let me rephrase it. I am interested in the players because they need to follow the way this works. Right now, I am more laser focused on those key players, the Eric Greenways, the Whitney Richlands, the Dave Thomases, and the other county assistant administrator. Are they following the policy procedures? I'm here to tell you, no, they did not. Because no, they have not. For years, they have not followed all of the policy procedures. For what reason? I don't know. I guess we need to figure that out. A good financial audit will figure that out. This is all but one. $800,000 should have gone through a laborious committee of research where the staff would have presented that if they felt it was a good request from Parks and Recreation, which, by the way, to say that, well, we had to do it because it was the damn good deal. We got a $95,000 discount. We have to move forward. I'm sorry. That's not how it works when you're dealing with the people's money. When the answer comes up that, well, we had to do it to take advantage of it and to be damned the rules. I'm sorry, be damned your excuse, because that's not how it works when you're dealing with my money, your money, and every other taxpayer in this county. You're dealing with their money. That's not how it works. The excuse of, well, I would rather beg for forgiveness than ask for permission does not work in this particular avenue. Sorry, but try again. You have to follow the procedures. And if that means you lose out on this supposed deal, then so be it. Follow the rules, follow the procedure, follow the policy, and move forward. $800,000 should have gone to 3 bidders, minimum 3 bidders. County code says that. County policy says that. 3 bidders. How do you know that $800,000 is absolutely friggin' stupid? Maybe that somebody else would have come back and said, well, we could do it for $550,000. Wow, well, there's a $250,000 difference. And all you wanted was a $95,000 give me a break cut? Come on. Come on. That's absurd. That's absurd. But that's not over. Along with all this other Greenway hearing and procurement and finance and Whitney Richland and now the assistant county finance officer or whatever, allegedly leaving. And there was somebody else, and my mind just went blank. Yeah. I can't even remember. Anyway, this ain't over. This ain't nowhere near being over.
Everything that rocks is right here. Right here.
Let's rock.
With Big Patriot Radio.
That's what I'm talking about.
7:55, 5 minutes before the top of the hour here on Beaufort County's House of Cards. Lee Grenade, did you hear about the mom in Beaufort who got 90 days in jail for not paying Judge Mandy Kimmons lawyer fees that her ex wrecked? Well, as a matter of fact, I did. Let me tell you all about this. This just happened. There's a young lady who lives in Beaufort. I guess she still lives in Beaufort. She may live out of town, but the case was here in Beaufort. A divorce case, nasty case, child, the back and forth on the whole child thing, custodial deal, really nasty, and a lot of crap. Kind of like, we heard Lee Grenade's her story. Well, this lady, last name is Armstrong, has a story too. A huge one. Well, recently, she comes to court here in Beaufort for whatever reason about this, because she's getting shafted, and she gets locked up. She gets locked up because she didn't pay the lawyer. Now, one would sit there and go, well, wait a minute. That's not a crime? No, it's not. No, it's not. Now, a judge can say, you will pay this or you will go to jail, hold you in contempt of court. Okay. I get that, whatever that is. I understand. So, but the funny thing is the judge who, signed off on her having to pay this was, and correct me if I'm wrong, was at one time the lawyer of this lady's husband, who they're plaintiff and defendant. So the ex-husband's lawyer turned judge. Okay. The ex-husband's lawyer, he won. She had to pay the fees. She, like I would have said, screw you, I'm not paying that. So the lawyer of the husband becomes a judge and issues an order, boom, that she has to pay these fees. She comes to court. I think it was Judge Smoke who she was in front of. I'm sure this goes through like a warrant or something. I guess that's how that works. And he says, well, I'm putting you in jail. And I don't know for how long. This is ridiculous. Well, what's a big, come on, what's a big, that happened, yeah, it is a big deal. But the weird thing about this, that nobody doesn't, you didn't talk about this one. That lawyer turned judge is former state representative Mandy Kimmons of either Dorchester or Berkeley counties, one of the two. She was a state representative. She quit and said she wanted to focus more on her practice, her law practice, her family, cross stitching, nail painting. And a year goes by. And no, but I don't even think it was a whole year. And all of a sudden she gets appointed as a judge by the legislature, which is abhorrently wrong in this state. And you have to wait that like 1 year. She, oddly enough, it was a year and she gets appointed as a judge. So she was ex-husband's lawyer. She now becomes the judge in family court of this case. This is absolutely wrong. Judge Holly Wall signed off on it. Okay, I don't know where I got smoke from. Mandy Kimmons repped her ex until she was represented her ex until she was a judge. And then after, which I'm going to have to question, and we've talked about this in the past, if you're a lawyer and you become a judge, how can you still represent anyone, even though it took 60 days to sign the? I mean, that doesn't make sense. That's not fair to anybody. I don't care who you are. But that's horse crap. That's horse crap. And this is how, and this is why the South Carolina judicial system does need some serious rework. We had Lee Grenade on here. We have had Representative Joe White on here. We've had a couple others talk about the judicial practice in this state. And basically, there is a committee. There is a judicial committee made up of lawmakers who pick judges. You can't tell me, and this is one of the things people say, that by picking that judge, there's not some kind of quid pro quo, even if it's not talked about. Even if it's not talked about, you can't tell me there's not something there on that. I mean, I just don't buy it. I don't care how good you are. I just don't care, because that's going to be that's like the seed of something nefarious just waiting to happen. If I promote you to a job that's a hell of a job, all right, and I guess that's a forever job, you don't owe me nothing. I may not ask for it, but that seed, that little sliver, that little wedge has got to be there. That's what has to change in this state. Even Democrat judges, Democrat lawmakers have said, nah, we're not into this. We got to change something. Now, you do have some lawmakers, for example, the former Speaker of the House. I will bet you money, and many others, if not hundreds and hundreds of others, agree. I will bet you money that as soon as that year from him retiring from the South Carolina House, I would not be shocked if he all of a sudden is appointed as a judge. So if you see or hear Jay Lucas is now a judge of the circuit, whatever, family court, Supreme Court, whatever court, the kangaroo court, I won't be shocked. That's how and I really shouldn't say underhanded. It's the appearance of deceitfulness is so glaringly obvious. When you hear things like this with Judge Kimmons and Armstrong and Trotter, that's the other party. I mean, something's got to be done. That's just not proper. It's just not proper. And something has to be done about it. We're going to dig a little bit more into it. So I hope to have Ms. Armstrong on here. I can't believe, and I'm assuming she still is, I can't believe she is sitting in jail for this. Okay? I mean, there are people who are trafficking kids, who are trafficking their significant other, that get a slap on the wrist. They go in, they bail out. She's got to sit there. I got a problem with that. I got a problem with that. Julianne, by the way, good to see you, Julianne. I thought when a lawyer became a judge, a lawyer has to bring an end to law. Wow. I will, if Joe White is watching, he can answer that. Lee Grenade is, even though she's not a lawyer, she's smarter than a shit ton of lawyers. I'll let her answer it. And a matter of fact, you're correct that Smoke ordered the incarceration yesterday. Oh, it was him. I see. Wall is the one who Smoke ordered the incarceration after he refused to hear the mom's motion to reconsider illegally awarded the fees, but Holly Wall did it initially. Gotcha. When you mess with their system, boy, they get upset because the system is messed up. The system is messed up. Well, Beaufort County GOP party is back in the news. And any other comments about that, please bring them on. We'll get back to it. But the GOP, here in Beaufort County is back in the news. Yes, recently there was a directive. I want you all to really listen to this. And this is not just for GOP folks. If you're a Democrat listening to this, this would apply to you. If you're, insert your party's initials where I say GOP, put DNC or anybody else, ABC, whatever the flower child political party, put it in there because this is something. Anyway, there was a directive from the RNC that came down to all the counties, to the state, urging what they called urging a return to excellence in American voting and elections. This resolution was adopted by the RNC, Ronna McDaniels and our very own Drew McKissick. It says plainly, and I'll show you a copy of it, says plainly that experts agree, side note, same experts we've been talking about here, just thought I'd throw that out there. Experts agree that the most resilient voting systems use paper ballots. Remember, I just said that. Just remember that, please. The most resilient systems use paper ballots, either marked by hand or with an assistive device, and are verified by the voter before any means of tabulation. Makes perfect sense, doesn't it? Is there anybody listening that thinks that's stupid? I mean, really, I don't care what flavor politics you are. That only makes sense. If I was a Democrat, I want to make sure that, it's being tabulated and calculated the proper way for whomever my gal or guy is. It doesn't matter what flavor you are. It doesn't matter. The RNC declares ranked choice voting as a scheme. We've been telling you all this. South Carolina Safe Elections has been telling us this. It causes chaos and is riddled with inaccuracies and illegal voting. We have been telling you this. South Carolina Safe Elections has been telling you this. The Liberty Bells have been telling you this. The resolution from Ronna McDaniels and the RNC specifically calls on secretaries of each state across the country, all 50, all secretaries of state, to implement anti-counterfeit ballot printing, tracing, and verification procedures. Think about that. And for any Democrats, independents, whatever, this will help you as well. Win or lose, let's do it legally, and let's do it honestly. Okay? Now, every state, the RNC is asking those secretaries of state to adopt this. That will have to come from, lobbying from their own General Assembly or whatever each state has. They called out the ranked choice voting, causing chaos and riddled with inaccuracies and illegal voting. We've seen this, ladies and gentlemen, right here in Beaufort County. They saw it in Charleston. They saw it in Aiken County. They saw it in York County. They've seen it in Greenville County. They've seen it in Horry County. Do I need to continue? This document obviously has worked its way into the hands of all county GOP parties. I know that it has. And I hope actually DNC parties from each state, I hope they've looked at it and said, hey, you know what? This is something we both, the elephants and the asses, can agree on. Let's do it this way. And apparently it's so good already. Anderson County, Sumter County, Berkeley County, Dorchester County, Greenville County, who did I forget? Charleston County and York counties have already adopted this resolution. We've been saying for over a year now how messed up our voting system is. We've been saying for over a year now that this bullshit Act 150 or Senate Bill 150 or whatever the fuck it is so asinine and is not election integrity. It is election disintegrity or whatever. So a request for this this resolution was sent out to our esteemed chairman, Kevin Henley, who quickly rebutted and said, the rules say it has to go to committee. Mr. Scott for investigation. It's the rules or resolutions committee or whatever they're calling it with the county, Beaufort County GOP. The submitter of this request made him explicitly aware that, hey, by the way, it is September. We are at the end of September. There aren't many meetings left for the rules committee to do their thing, to get it to go to the executive committee, to do its thing, to go to the full body, to do its thing, and get it in resolution form over to the General Assembly, specifically to Representative Weston Newton, chairman of the House Judiciary Committee, in time for the new session that starts, I think it's January 8th or 9th. Fast forward. I sent a request as a professional courtesy to our GOP chairman. I included Mr. Scott on there. I included Judiciary Chair Weston Newton, and I included my good friend Senator Tom Davis, asking for this to be moved to the top of the list, the king of the hill, the top of the pack, as an important issue to be considered by the General Assembly getting back into the next session. I wanted to convey as a fellow legislator that the judiciary needs to have this information. The sooner the better, with all the data, the better, so they can do what they do. Go through committee, get it out of committee, get it onto the floor to get beat around and hopefully voted on and sent to the Senate. The same thing happens. The Senate votes it out, and we go. Now we're at the end of session. You see what I'm saying? See what I'm saying? Mr. Henley, Chairman Henley, replied to me, and he said, you, quote, you obviously are confused with the rules. I said, no, Kevin, I'm not confused with the rules. I know them quite well. I probably know them better than you because I've studied them so hard because they're so crooked. I also advised Mr. Henley, and I've got some documents I'll show you here in a second, that he has the ability. I know he has the ability. He knows he has the ability. Those that I copied on there know he has the ability and the latitude to put anything that the chairman wants. That's part of the benefit of being a chair. You control a lot of things. You can put anything in any resolution before any committee at any time for any reason, if you want to bad enough. There have been things that all of a sudden went right through and got their business done, if you want to bad enough. But let's go back a few months, though, when we're trying to figure out why is it, trying to figure this out, that why or what Kevin Henley said in his own words about election integrity. Let's take a look. Let's take a look, and let me see if we have a picture of this. Let's take a look and see. Where are you? Ah, there you are. Let's go back. Let's share this. And how do I do that? All right. Tell me if you see what I'm about to show you. Does anybody see the weekly update on your screen with Kevin Henley's little pretty picture there? Does anybody see that? Come on, I know you're there. Somebody yes or somebody no. Do you see it on your screen? Okay, thanks, Julian. All right. This is what he said at a recap of the 2023 Beaufort County Republican Party convention. Go down to the end. Oh, this is not the end. This is where I stopped. Talking about what did we learn? What do we believe? Was the election reform passed in 2022 good or bad? That also was answered loud and clear, he said, and with a resounding yes. 96% in the straw poll supported the 2022 election reform bill. Here highlighted, how do we view the future? Do we want to return to 1862 and paper ballot voting, or do we believe in a process of voting that verifies voters before they vote and can be audited after? That's right. Kevin Henley, and I told him I was doing this, you said that. That's why this is getting held up. This is why this is being, let's use the term, the younger generation, cock-blocked, because you don't agree with paper ballot voting, because it would take us back to the 1862. Even though Rona McDaniel, your beloved blah, 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 where are you? You're the chair of the Republican National Committee, the rhino of rhinos. Here is that data. This is the resolution. You're looking at it right now. Resolution urging return to excellence in American voting and elections. Blah, 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 blah. Go down here. Whereas election experts agree that the most really resilient voting systems use paper ballots, either marked by hand or with an assistive device, and are verified by the voter before any means of tabulation. And whereas the RNC has unanimously opposed complicated election schemes like ranked choice voting, that is a clear example of the chaos being pushed on our states and territories. So it's resolved that the RNC boldly opposes means of voting that do not have the proper safeguards in place and are exclusively electronic, and calls on every county and state in the nation to use as the default ballot systems, which are fully auditable, namely hand-marked, voter-verified paper ballots to ensure every voter is memorialized by a paper record. Resolved that the RNC calls on secretaries of state to blah, 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 implement anti-counterfeit ballot printing, tracing, verification. Right up here. Election experts agree the most resilient voting systems should use paper ballots. Not Kevin Henley, not Beaufort County. It also goes on to say that the RNC calls for elimination of temporary or pop-up voting locations, drop boxes, and any other voting center that is not fairly defined and bound to a designated geographic territory where voting locations exist. It's resolved that the RNC calls for a necessary return to excellence, or in other words, a return to the simple and proven methods of precinct, ward, or geographically defined localized voting with auditable balloting procedures using those paper ballots in fair limit time periods, proper identification to strengthen voter confidence, etc., etc. Not in Beaufort County, not under the leadership or lack thereof of Kevin Henley, wanting to make voting easier for more people and last longer. So everyone, it sounds like a Democrat sometimes. Sounds like Are you batting for the other team? I just don't know. I'm confused. I'm confused. Let me read that again. I got to say that again. Does anybody else get this? Do we want to return to 1862 in paper ballot voting, or do we believe in a process that verifies voters before they vote and can be audited after? Hey, Kevin. Kevin. Hello. Kevin. That's what you said we needed. A process of voting that verifies voters before they vote and can be audited after. The RNC has put something together, and believe me, folks, I'm not a fan of the RNC all the time. But you stick your thumb up in the air when someone takes the time to put the resolution together in a format that you can see that the state could take a look at for a technicality of time. So our GOP chair, hey, prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. Is he more interested in the most dishonest election process in our history in this state? All because of his friend, the infamous Xiaodan Lee, tells everyone that she wrote Act 150 or Senate Bill 150 or whatever the hell she wants to call it. And that's not even true. Did she have input? Oh, yes. Do the mainstream, we want to call them rhino or establishment or globalists, do they believe she's so awesome? I love her. Yeah. Folks, this is fake as a $3 bill. He wants to go against the RNC's directives of better and honest voting by continuing the Act 150 or Senate Bill 150 or whatever, the election integrity bill, which is and has been and continues to be a joke. It is not, there is not one thing integrity-filled about that bill. I don't care what senators signed off on it. I don't care what House members signed off on it. It is riddled with holes like the backstop at a shooting gallery. If you're a member of the county GOP, even if you're not, to be honest with you, but for those that are, and if you haven't fired off an email to Kevin yet after hearing this or called him, I really want to know what the hell is your problem. What are you waiting for? What in the hell are you people waiting for when this is right in front of your nose? And yes, tonight there was a GOP meeting. Maybe it is still going on. I doubt it. I've had her on, Julianne, and would love to have her back. And I've been on her podcast as well. But absolutely. Let her know. I'd love to have her back on. There was a meeting there tonight. And from what I'm being told, it was a joke. There was the sheriff's department there keeping people out. This is unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Have you called your precinct captain yet and told them this is absolute bullshit and you don't stand for it? It's your party. It's not Joe Dan Lee's or Matt Sweeney or Kevin Henley. It's your party. Have you called your executive committeeman or committeewoman, your EC yet? Have you called your county councilwoman or county councilman and said, this is bullshit. We're not accepting what the RNC is putting down to make our elections more fair? Even if you're a Democrat, after you're laughing your ass off at us right now, and I completely understand, I would hope you're calling your own side saying, hey, we need to push this because these clowns aren't doing it, but this is good. Fair and honest. Just make it fair, make it honest. My opinion, for those that have just asked, Henley is purposefully denying the admittance of this RNC resolution to the county executive committee and the resolutions committee because of his affiance to Jodan Lee. That is not only despicable, it is disgusting. His personal affections or afflictions, whatever it is, should not be the guidestones of your positions, Chairman. The voters control this party, not you. Just make that clear. The voters control the party, not you. The voters pay the taxes in this county, and the county council should represent them, not the other way around. You see how all of this is starting to kind of mold together? The voters control this party, not Jodan Lee. While I have no interest in serving in his position, there is someone I know who would do a freaking bang-up job. I have no interest in that. Even though I would make you look like a complete fool, I have no interest in doing that. Someone needs to replace you as quickly as possible. The front loading of votes for your affirmation of your work is and was disgusting. And yes, you did it. We had people call here and say, I just got a phone call from the central director telling me to come to the meeting and vote yes for Kevin Henley. I don't know why. What is it about? And we told them. You had 3 regional directors. After that, we looked into it. We know all 3 were making those phone calls. You front loaded the votes to ensure your own validity. It's time for some people in the party not only to grow up, but also step down.
Everything that rocks is right here. Right here.
Let's rock.
With Big Patriot Radio.
That's what I'm talking about.
So I am fired up now. Now it's getting hot in here. We got to turn the AC down. It is at the bottom of the half hour, 8:30 here on Beaufort County's House of Cards. Book issues remain a hot topic with not only the Beaufort County Board of Education. Something doesn't add up with the debt. Remind me of that. And also, I'll lay some information out about this. Stephen Murray said, hasta la vista, baby. Book issues remain a hot topic, not only the Board of Education, but all over the country. This thing has really grown legs and took off like a rabbit. More and more parents and community members have gotten so upset and so pissed off at local school boards. People are finally starting to see the results. They really are. We haven't seen them here yet, but it's working. Some places, you see the results some places. I wanted to say that recently on Capitol Hill, there was a Senate hearing. Senator Kennedy from Louisiana read from passages, from 2 books. They were, what were the name of the books? All Boys Aren't Blue and Gender Queer. He read some passages to a panel of folks who were there to answer questions in this hearing. Some of them, after he read, they commented that it was very odd and uncomfortable to sit here and hear you say that, but none of them would answer the question as to what about these passages is good for children. And they also could not answer, or rather would not answer, what can be done to make, and it was very general, this whole thing better. Obviously, he was giving them a doorway, and the door was open, but they wouldn't bite. But every excuse and response that we've heard at Beaufort County school board meetings with the same ones given there. Oh, you're taking passages. You're not reading it. You're not. It's only kind of context. Oh, your kid won't have to do that. They can read it on the internet. I mean, the whole thing. It's ad nauseum. These folks said it. Kennedy, and only the way Kennedy could say it, if you ever listened to him, he asked them, what freaking planet did they just parachute in from? And that same question should be asked to our and your school board, wherever county you're coming in from tonight. What freaking planet did you just parachute in from? You don't know what I'm talking about? You don't know? Well, I'm glad you asked. So we're going to have a little story time. Little story time here on the House of Cards. And I want you to imagine, just close your eyes, and you're a 10-year-old little boy. You should be playing in dirt and sand and with worms and whatever. Or a 10-year-old little girl playing in, dolls or football or house or whatever they do now. You went to the public school library and you saw a bright red and yellow and some green flashy book on the shelf. You checked the book out. You brought it home. The book is titled Damsel by Elaine Arnold. Damsel. Pretty benign word. She's a damsel in distress. A damsel, blah, 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 blah. That's the book. Now, I'm going to warn all of you, what I'm about to read may be disturbing to some of you. And if that's you, Mom, turn off the sound, turn it down until I give you a thumbs up. When I give you a thumbs up, if those of you don't want to hear what I'm about to say, because it's pretty bad, turn off the sound. I'll give you a thumbs up when I'm down, and you can turn the sound back up. Ready? Everybody turn your sound down that doesn't want to hear this. Let's read a passage from the book Damsel. And this is a quote, the entire thing. We are about 3 days from our wedding, Emma, Emery murmured. I am your secret keeper and soon to be your husband. Surely you would not deny me a taste of your sweetness now, this day, after the favors I have given you. He didn't wait for an answer, and still he did not free Emma's hands. He had grasped them both together in bondage, holding them with one of his hands tightly. Holding them both in one of his, he managed to twist free the buttons on his trousers and then guided Emma's fingers to the shaft of hem. A noise like a hiss escaped from Emery as he used his hand to wrap Emma's fingers around his yard. It was hot and hard, with a dew-wet drip at its tip. Emery moved Emma's hands within his grip, up and down, slowly at first and faster, until with a grunt and a groan and a spasm so tight that the knuckles of Emma's fingers cracked, a jet of warmth spilled out of him and trickled down Emma's hands, still encased in Emery's. A moment passed, during which only the sounds were Emery's labored gasps and the intermittent squeaking of carriage wheels. When Emery's breath had quieted, he cleared his throat and released Emma's hands, which were still wrapped around the king's yard, now softening and shrinking. Her fingers were coated with the sticky mess of him, end quote. Further on in the chapter, the king, Emery, and Emma had an argument. I believe it was somewhat of an argument. He ended up, for some reason, stabbing Emma. Back to the quotes. Emma gasped to him, "You stabbed me with your steel." "I did," said Emery, "my second weapon. I found the unprotected flesh beneath your arm. I pierced you good, I did." The king then said, "It takes 3 weapons to slay the dragon and free a damsel. My brain, my steel, and my yard." The king felt that the damsel Amma was also the dragon, and he felt that she should thank him. Emery made his excuse to her why he had raped her and took her from the lair as Amma lay bleeding on the stone floor of her lair. And here came Emery, loosening the buckle of his belt, freeing the horn of him, and entering the bloody tear he had ripped beneath her arm. Thumbs up. Turn the volume back up. So is this what should be in the library of our schools? You know, if this show was on terrestrial television or terrestrial radio, something along those lines, I would have been probably already cut off and be fined by the FCC for lewd, vulgar, pornographic, blah, 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 all the above. Fortunately, this is not, so I got to continue. You know, prior to this review, and this book was just reviewed. It was just reviewed here in Beaufort County. That's right. For those parents, this is in Beaufort County. I'm not talking about those that are watching in Charleston or the two that are in York County or the three that I see in Fulton County, Georgia that are watching or the others. This is from the most recent, the latest Beaufort County Review Committee. Prior to the review of this half-ass committee, this book was only in high school libraries. What is that, like 13, 14-year-olds, I guess, to like 17, 18? After the review, it was released to all libraries. That's right. You heard me. It was released to all libraries. Now, the school system, I can't remember her name, one of the members of the school district, not the board, but the school district, and said, oh, no, that's just, you're interpreting wrong. No, it was released for full circulation. Avi Zelai and I have talked about this. I think David Wood chimed in on it proudly. It was released in full. In full. So Pritchardville Elementary, Shanklin Elementary, Ladies Island Elementary, Hilton Head Elementary. If you want to get the book Damsel and your 5-year-old to 5-year-olds don't normally read, but 5-year-old to 8-year-old or 9-year-old or 10-year-old want to read that book, you just got the okay from the review committee to do it. You can let that 10-year-old that I just told you to close and be in the mind of listen to rape, how to give a hand job, I would assume murder because he stabbed her, and then he rapes her in the stab wound. Holy shit. No wonder some of our kids are so fucked up. I mean, kids that are like killing people, well, let them read this stuff. Oh my God. Is that the total cause? Absolutely not. But you know what I'm saying. You know where I'm going. When someone asked why kids in our society today are so messed up, are you serious? Could this be a part of it? I think so. We carried guns to school when I was in high school. What is it, 30, 40 years ago? Nobody ever got shot. You didn't do that. That's how people were raised. And no, this isn't The Catcher in the Rye or To Kill a Mockingbird. Don't even go there. That's ignorant. Oh, the Bible, don't even go there. That is ignorant. Show me where the Bible has verses of what I just read. That's right, it doesn't. Well, Shakespeare was Seriously? The books that talk about how to blow up a school, you're going to compare that to Shakespeare? The books that talk about how to have sex with a dog, you're gonna say that, well, you know, To Kill a Mockingbird talks about blah blah. Seriously? That just shows the ignorance of those people that think that. the people like the iniquitous beast of Ladies Island and her miscreant imps. That's the low-hanging, immoral, and ignorant brain level of people. Ugh. I'll say it again, and I say it proudly. If you think this material belongs in a public school library, something is wrong with you, period. Someone told me that once. Well, that's a little harsh. I'm sorry, I don't care. I really don't care. If that's harsh, it's not as harsh as what I just read. That's harsh. That's really not hardcore. You look at the book Tricks, or what was the one? Is it Push? There's so many. You look at those. Now that's hardcore. The school board needs to hear these books. I plan on making that happen. I want them to hear this. I want them to try to silence me. They need to hear this. They will be hearing this.
Everything that rocks is right here. Right here.
Let's rock.
With Big Patriot Radio.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's right. Push. That was the book. That was the book. Exactly right. Thanks, Julianne. Julianne mentioned something earlier. Beaufort, the city of Beaufort, mayor, Stephen, oh my God. I've known him for years, and all of a sudden I can't remember his last name. Anyway, the mayor of Beaufort resigned. Wow, this is when you get old. The mayor of Beaufort resigned. Stephen Murray. He resigned like last week. This had been building, and I don't live in the Beaufort town area, but obviously I watch what goes on over there, and I report on what goes on over there. And there were some things that were brewing that had to do with, and I'm sure the folks that live over there can answer this a whole lot better than me. So I'm going to give you a very wide angle paraphrase. The city council and the mayor was talking about removing a member of the historic foundation, or the historic review board, or something like that, as they call it, historic review board. And the person they were going to remove was the seat held by the commission, the foundation or whatever, which on itself, I mean, it sounds stupid. If you're going to have a historic housing building commission, it should have anybody that has to do with the historic society, I would think, be on it. I mean, that only makes sense. But anyway, there was a lot of tit for tat arguments. Involved in this was two players, Graham Trask and Dick Stewart. Both of them arguably own probably more of downtown Beaufort than anybody. I guess that's true. It certainly seems like it. Mr. Stewart wanted to build a Marriott, a historic Marriott or something like that downtown. Trask called it the ugly red building. I mean, they were just bitching each other back and forth. It seems to me that Murray got in the middle of it where he shouldn't have been, got in the middle of their argument. That's just how it looks like from somebody on the outside. Trask runs a couple of like social media sites and had really been blasting Stephen Murray. I mean, just blasting him. Accused him of harassing and stalking the board member, the foundation board member, lady, and I don't remember her name. But anyway, accused him of that. Anyway, Murray came out and said, this wasn't fun anymore. I want to spend time with my family, my businesses, my wife, et cetera, et cetera. I was all in, and I'm now done. And, I know Stephen personally. Like I said, I've known him for years and years and years. And I've always told him that, you're biggest cheerleader for Beaufort that I've ever known. Billy Cosling, even though he and I are diametrically different in political philosophy, he was pro Beaufort, man. But Stephen Murray took it to a whole new level. He did some good things with some drainage issues. Again, I don't live there, so I don't know if it was hell living there under him. I really don't know. But he seemed like he did he wanted to do the best job he could. Whether he did or not, I don't know. I'm not here to judge the guy, but it certainly has the appearance that he had said, enough is enough. I'm not dealing with this anymore. It's now affecting me personally, and I'm out. And that's sad. That's really sad. If that's true, and that's what it came down to, then people like Graham Trask or whoever it is, and if it's not him, then, let's just say allegedly, whoever's on Murray's, behind, that's sad that they ran him off, if that's what happened. Now, if Murray was to come on here tonight and say, hey, Mike, man, they didn't run me off. I got to do this, and this, and I don't have time for it. Cool. I'm just saying it has the appearance. And that's sad, because in politics, you have to have a very, very, very thick neck. I heard it was not a podcast, but a live stream from an acquaintance of mine who's running for town council in Bluffton this week. There was some words said that affected him on an ATAX committee that he's on in town. And he was crying. He couldn't he was really having a hard time. I felt bad for the guy, but I told him privately, I said, look, he's running for county or town council. Bo, you have got to put on a shield of armor that is impenetrable. Apparently that problem there was Bridget Frazier, who he's running against. One of her folks had made comments that was very derogatory. I watched it. It was very derogatory. Nate Pringle's the one who did it. Very derogatory. And I like Nate. I like the Pringles. I was shocked to see and hear what I heard come out of his mouth. He's making this a problem that I don't think he wants to go down. But regardless of that, you have to have a very thick skin. But Stephen Murray and anybody else who does this is only going to, they have a limit. There is a point. Not everybody can be, everybody has a point. Let's just say that. There was something else you had mentioned, Julianne. Where was it? You had said, something doesn't add up. Yeah, we'll talk about that. Before I talk about that, interestingly, I was in Atlanta earlier this week. One of the nights I was having dinner with 3 guys from Indiana, or was it Illinois? No, it was Indiana. And 2 guys, no. I take that back. 2 guys from Indiana, 3 guys from New Jersey. Talking, and it was all business. And something came up about a school. And one of the guys from Jersey had made a comment supporting what we are doing. And I was like, this is perfect. So I whipped out some BigPatriotRadio.com Beaufort County House of Cards and handed it to him. All of them there at the table, turns out, were very conservative, very like-minded thinking. And now I haven't looked. Now I got it turned off, but I don't know. They were going to listen in tonight. They were going to start listening to the show. The point of all that is this: the same things that Julianne has been very outspoken, and I give you major props. And Ivy and David and so many others, Joe, so many others. It's happening in other places. Other places see and hear what you're doing here. Other places see and hear what the opposition, the ignorant, very disgusting opposition is doing. And it's growing a lot of attention because more and more people are are disgusted. They're not winning. They're not winning. You are. So keep your head up. Keep your head up. Anyway, and welcome to the show for those new listeners. 10 minutes before 9 o'clock, we're coming out of turn 4 here. Final story of the night. You may have heard that recently there was an airplane crash. Had a little airplane crash over there in, actually it was in Charleston, and I believe it was near the airport, but an F-35, that is the $90 plus million plane that the Marine Corps, well, there are several variants. The Marine Corps variant was this one, and it flies out of Beaufort, Fightertown, USA, the Beaufort Marine Corps Air Station. The pilot ejected. There was a problem. We don't know the problem, at least as of when I got on the show. We hadn't heard the problem. The pilot ejected, landed in somebody's backyard. The plane, they couldn't find the son of a bitch. They couldn't find it. It's an F-35 that sounds like the loudest thing in the sky, and they couldn't find it. As Julianne said earlier, something doesn't add up. No, it doesn't. How do you lose an F-35? Now, here's the real kicker. Someone had said, well, it was 50 feet above the ground. It's below the radar. Even more so. I mean, an F-35 is so frigging loud. I mean, they're loud. They are really loud. It flew 60 miles, approximately 60 miles further from where the point of ejection was, to around or near the, what they call like Lake Santee, up that way, 60 miles away. 60 miles. If the plane, I would assume it was decelerating, I would think. But the U.S. government is being very, very hush-hush about this. Something happened. There was a wingman. I wonder if they call women in that position a wing woman. I don't know. Anyway, there was a wingman. And the wingman didn't see what was going on, didn't see the plane keeping off. The wingman didn't land. They couldn't find it for days. It doesn't, yeah, there you go. And the transponder, what happened? What happened? How does that happen? I mean, out in the pool, I hear planes. I mean, it's obvious when an F-35 comes by, we know it. Here in Bluffton, I mean, in Beaufort, you folks gotta, I mean, I don't know how you eat dinner with those things going overhead. And that's right, Paul. It landed in Williamsburg County. I don't know how you eat dinner. They're so damn loud. But they couldn't find it for days? I don't know. Something doesn't smell right there. And maybe we'll learn more. We'll keep digging into it and see if there's any meat on that bone. Julianne asked, why doesn't our South Carolina Governor Henry McMaster do what Florida's governor did regarding the books? I don't know. That's a great question. That's a great question. I don't believe we would ever get a straight answer out of Henry. Maybe I'm wrong. I think it's definitely something that people should put pen to paper and ask him. If I don't think he's up for election, or I don't think his office is this year. I think he's got 2 more. So that would be a great place in a public setting, a debate kind of deal. I have been impressed, and I don't get impressed easily, but I was impressed with what the superintendent of education did and said over the last week or so, or 2 weeks now. The South Carolina Department of Education came out and said, we are cutting ties. We are shutting her down when it comes to the Library Association, or the Association of School Librarians, or whatever. It's a horrid group of supposedly leadership for librarians, but it's nothing more than another venue of prostituting the minds of children with all of these books, like what I just read to you. And the superintendent of education said, we're done. We're not having anything to do with you. Now, school board chairs and or school board district superintendents should all have been put on notice, but I will guarantee you that hasn't happened. It's going to be up to you, the citizen, to make sure that we don't have librarians or teachers or administrators that are pushing DEI, that are pushing CRT, that are pushing trans-affirming gender changes, that are pushing secret surveys to kids, because it is happening. We've caught them. We continue to catch them. So it's up to the parents. You've got to start standing up. You've got to start speaking out. Come to a school board meeting for 3 minutes. I'll be glad to stand up there with you, to hold your hand, to put my arm around you if I am in town and can go. I've been trying to for several months now. Call in for public comment. If you can't go, call in. That kind of stuff matters. Tell your school board member. Tell Dick Geyer. Tell Carlton Dallas. Tell Christina Guads. Tell Boatwright. Tell William Smith. Tell Earl Sleepy Campbell. Tell them all. Stop it. Stop this madness and grow a set of balls and stand up for the children. Hashtag leave the children alone. That's it for tonight. I'm Mike Covert. This is Beaufort County's House of Cards. Look forward to seeing you next week right here on the Big Patriot Radio Network and Beaufort County's House of Cards.